led, he encouraged them to be winners on more than just the basketball court. He served in the Navy. So did Norman Dale. After the Navy, he returned to the basketball program, coaching at Indiana State Teachers College. His basketball teams had a 44-15 record over 2 seasons. In 1947, his team received an invitation to the National Association of Intercollegiate Basketball, the national tournament in Kansas City, and he refused the invite because the NAIB banned African American players. Over time, when he went to UCLA, they won 38 straight NCAA tournaments, had 88 consecutive victories, secured 4 perfect 30-0 seasons, and won 10 national championships. He was the first person to be inducted into the Naismith Memorial Basketball Hall of Fame as both a player and a coach. Even after he retired, he was still being honored. He received the Reagan Distinguished American Award in 1995 and a Presidential Medal of Freedom Award, the highest, of course, that someone can get like that, in 2003. John Wooden passed away in 2010, just a few months short of turning 100. I thought it was interesting what George W. Bush said to John Wooden and about him as he received that Medal of Freedom. He said, "All his players will tell you the most important man on their team was not on the court. He was the man who taught generations of basketball players the fundamentals of hard work and discipline, patience and teamwork. Coach Wooden remains a part of their lives as a teacher of the game and as an example of what a good man should be." John Wooden also spent a fair amount of time thinking about what matters in life. And very quickly, just before our friend John Bell, our coach, comes up here, how about some of these, what we might call Woodenisms? These are things that he collected over the years. And of course, I got to get there. There we go. And just a few of these before we get started. A coach is someone who can give correction without causing resentment. Being a role model is the most powerful form of educating. Too often, fathers neglect it because they get so caught up in making a living, they forget to make a life. If a player's not doing the things he should, put him on the bench. He'll come around. Success is peace of mind, which is a direct result of self-satisfaction in knowing you did your best to become the best you are capable of becoming. Material possessions, winning scores, and great reputations are meaningless in the eyes of the Lord because He knows what we really are, and that is all that matters. I had 3 rules for my players: no profanity, don't criticize a teammate, never be late. The best thing a father can do for his children is to love their mother. The main ingredient of stardom is the rest of the team. No one can really honestly be the very best. No one. In other words, there's always something about us in life that still is not quite there. That's a coach for you that'll always take you to that next level. But you know, we can become amazing men. And I want to thank you guys again for coming out on this journey as we head that direction. And John Bell will now come up and explain how we do that.
John Wooden was my favorite coach, and UCLA was my favorite team in high school. And I watched them religiously. He was known as the Wizard of Westwood. You know, and what I loved about him, which is what this scene depicted as well, is that he protected the people around him. He was a gentle protector. That's what that clip is all about. Those kids from Hickory, Indiana, are just overwhelmed by the size of the gym and what they're up against. It was actually, in the movie, it was a David versus Goliath. And what did he do? He saw their demeanor. He saw what they were feeling. He synced up with them, which is really important. Lots of men don't know how to do that. They're kind of, tunnel vision in their own little world. But he saw that they were overwhelmed, and so what did he do? He took them through the exercise of, it's just a gym. That's all this is. And so today, let's just go through the first three, right? If you're going to be amazing, first and foremost, you have to be sticky, right? What does it mean to be sticky? It means extreme loyalty. It means you know how to have relationships. It means you light up when you see the people that you love. Because you communicate more with your face and with the tone of your voice than you do with words. And if you've had children, you know that that's true, especially girls. They're watching for the look on your face and the tone in your voice. But you want to be sticky. It's that word chesed. And stickiness involves bringing joy to others, lighting up when you see them, and just being loyal. That the relationship that we have is more important than any problem we're going to face. So that's what stickiness is, right? Then we said you want to, throughout your life, you want to be inquisitive. You want to learn how to ask questions. I guarantee you, if you learn to ask questions, you'll be the life of any party. Because everyone loves to talk about themselves, right? And so you want to be inquisitive, and these things kind of all fit together. But first, you've got to be able to make relationships, and then you've got to begin to understand life, yourself, and where you fit, and all those kinds of things. And then last week, we talked about being gritty. That grit is absolutely necessary. And if you have children or grandchildren, you want them to be gritty. And gritty is being able to come up with a goal, putting together a strategy, staying with it, and when you fall off the horse, you're resilient enough to get back up and try again. Okay, so be sticky, be inquisitive, and be gritty. And here's how it works now. Dean shared it with you last week. You have to practice this stuff. It's not information that brings about transformation. It's those activities. And as you do it, God has made the brain in such a way that it will rewire itself. The brain throughout your life, especially the right side of your brain, which is all these things we're talking about, they all take place in the right side of your brain. The left side is all about reasoning and logic and narrating and understanding, and it operates at a conscious speed, so you're aware of it. The right side operates so fast that it's actually called the superconscious, because it happens faster than the left side can keep up with it. And these skills of being sticky, being inquisitive, being gritty, it's all about the right side of your brain and developing it. And men aren't very good at this, I can tell you right now. We're not very good because the Western world has become a left brain world. So today we're going to talk about the fourth one, which is be a gentle protector. Be a gentle protector. That's the main job of a man is to be a protector. And Dean and I talked about this week. I'm a protector. I've been a protector for a long, long time. I was that kid that, you remember, when you pick sides, we did it with a bat, right? And you throw the bat, and and then the other person catches it, and then, and then whoever has the top, they try to kick it out of your hand, and if they can't, you get first choice. So I was that guy. I would choose my first couple of players, but then I would look for a kid that never got chosen. And I'd make him my third choice. You know why? Because I wanted him to feel like he was part of the group. That's what it means to be a protector. And from the time we start turning into adults, and by the way, we start turning into adults at 13 years of age. In the whole history of the world, there was never anything known as adolescence or being a teenager. You were expected to start becoming a man at 13. So a lot of what I'm going to talk about today really centers on what should take place from that time of 13 till you find the person that you're going to marry. Okay? But I'm telling you that you have to learn this. If you haven't learned this, just like all these other things, you have to learn this, and you have to start practicing it now. Start practicing those gentle protector skills. So I said before, I was a protector. Here's what I wasn't. I wasn't a gentle protector. Of the fruits of the Spirit, love, joy, peace, patience, kindness, faithfulness, gentleness, self-control. Of those, the one that was always a sticking point for me was gentleness. Because I'm naturally bold, and sometimes my boldness comes out as being harsh. And I know it when I do it now. I used to didn't even know. So I'm learning to be, I'm continuing, with all the people around me, I'm beginning to be not just a protector, because they know I'm a protector, but I'm beginning to be a gentle protector. Here's the definition I've given to what a gentle protector is, the fourth dimension of an amazing man. A gentle protector is a man who has learned to protect others. And here's what protector is all about. He skillfully wields power. He skillfully wields power to what? To cultivate emotional maturity, promote a strong group identity, and increase productivity through trust, joy, and engagement. So he actually, this is the whole idea of John Wooden. How did he bring out the best in others? Because he used trust, joy, and engagement with them. And that's, it's engaging others to do important stuff. That's really what leadership is. When an amazing man uses his strength the right way, people thrive. People thrive. They have greater capacity, they have improved skills, everyone has the potential to flourish. That's what you have when you have a gentle protector. You need to know this, that God designed men to protect. God designed men to protect. One thing that they've discovered in all sociological studies, no matter what country you're in, what culture you're in, what time you're in, this is what is true about men. They actually call it the 3 Ps. It's what men are absolutely responsible for: protection, procreation, and provision. Those are the 3 Ps. And guess what? Across all cultures, there's a whole debate right now in society, modern society, about what masculinity is. Well, across all cultures, those 3 Ps remain true. Here's the problem with being a gentle protector. All men are born predators. We're all born predators. By the way, women are born predators too. Well, everything goes into the mouth, right? And what can a baby tell you? That something's wrong and somebody needs to do something about it. And everything's predatory. You know, they actually believe that they're the center of the universe. Every child believes that. And here's the other thing about the way that we know we're born predators. Our brains are designed to notice weakness. Our brains are designed to notice weakness. And for a predator, when a predator notices weakness, what does that mean? Lunch, right? It means lunch. So we have to learn how to be a gentle protector. Being a protector is all about how you use power. How do you use power? The 3 preoccupations that are supposed to take place starting around 13, again, your brain is wired for this, but the 3 preoccupations of young men are power, relationship, and truth. It kind of works like this. I would put it in a sentence like this. We have to learn to use our power in relationships based on truth. And lots of people get this wrong. So they end up in cults, or they end up in gangs. But what you're looking for at around 13, you start looking, you've gone through your individual identity, now you're looking for a group identity, and your brain actually makes room for you to find that group identity. And you're going to find it. You're going to find and learn how to use power based on relationships that you're involved with and whether or not you believe they're true. And as I said, and everybody thinks theirs is right. All gang members think the way that they're working in relationships and using power, cults, the same thing. Why? Because that's what's going on. I love this quote. The glory of young men is their strength. The glory of young men is their strength. And the splendor of old men is their gray head. We've got some of that, don't we, in the room? So let's talk about those 3 things. Here's how proper development takes place. This is kind of a checklist now. For power to develop properly in your life. But again, if it were a perfect world, you know, one of the things about Amazing Men is I present an idealized version of manhood. So what I'm talking about is if things work the way that they were supposed to, this is what you would be like as a man. So you need to be examining these things and then saying, what do I need to work on? Proper development of power here's what it requires. And I want you to think back over, your development. I remember when I was a junior in high school, I grew 7 inches. So that means I was like 5'2", 5'3" at the end of my sophomore year. And in 1 year, I shot past my mother, past my father, most of my siblings, and I just remember, this sense of power, testosterone, right? And that's what you feel like at that age. There's a certain sense of almost invincibility. But here's what you have to have as you engage in that part of your life. You have to observe men and adults using power wisely. You need models. You have to learn to do important tasks for your community and make an impact on history. And you make an impact on history one way or another. Everybody makes an impact on history. I mean, that's what It's a Wonderful Life with George Bailey is all about, which we talked about before. I believe that when we get to eternity, we may have the chance to see what life would have been like if we weren't there. What am I telling you? You may not think you're a big deal, but you're making an impact on history. And you've got to realize that. And you've got to, when I was in college, my friends and I were hired by this church to do bus ministry. Anybody remember bus ministry? Like this was the early 70s. And I was given Cicero, and another friend was given Berwyn, and another friend was given Oak Park. I won. I had Cicero. I could bribe the kids with bubble gum, and they'd get on the bus. But you know what? On our last Sunday, during that summer, we had 700 kids on buses. And I can't tell you, over the years, I have had moms and dads come up to me and say, you came by, picked up my kids, got them on a bus, and eventually I started coming to church. Then my husband started coming to church, and we all accepted Christ. We make an impact on history, don't we? And what I am really against today is that we have segregated out young people. We now put them in their own youth group, separated from all the adults. And I want to tell you something. Boys need men. They need to observe men handling power, and they need to be given important things to do, important tasks. They need to learn significant roles. Here's a big one. They need to learn to use sexual power wisely. If you have a son or a grandson, you should say to them, whenever you date, you want to date in such a way that even if you don't marry that girl, later on, whoever marries her comes up and shakes your hand. And then you have to protect others from yourself. Why? Because I have weaknesses. I have weaknesses. I am very quick on the draw verbally. And I've learned that I can hurt people. I can hurt my daughters. I can hurt my son. I can hurt my wife. So I have learned to protect others from myself. Then proper development of relationship requires that a young man, number one, bond with peers. I just can't tell you enough that men need other men, young men need mutual relationships. They need to be included in the community of men. They need to develop partnership relationships, both mutual relationships and junior adult relationships. In other words, if you have young men that you know, you need to enter into a partnership with them because they need what you have to offer. I just got an email this week from a guy in Austin, Texas, and he says, I'm doing a lot of mentoring. Do you have any material that can help me? Because he sees all kinds of opportunities to mentor. Achieve mutual satisfaction. Here's what that means. Negotiate fairly. You should be able to make a good deal, and it should be a good deal for you and a good deal for the person you're negotiating with. A narcissist only believes that they win if you lose. New York, Chicago, Washington, D.C., Los Angeles, all around the country, we have lots of people who believe that they win if you lose. Using power wisely means I'm not just going to protect myself, I'm going to protect you. I'm going to see when you're getting the short end of the stick, and I'm going to do something about it. And then bring himself and others back to joy. So that just means that Even when we have a problem between us, we can bring each other back to joy. We can do repair. This is the time to learn to repair. How good are you at repair? How good are you at letting people who are angry at you, how good are you at letting them know you're glad to be with them even when they're angry at you? Right? Like, I want to be with you. But I can see you're upset. I am upset, but I still want to be with you. And then thirdly, to succeed in finding his true identity, a young man, and we talked a lot about identity, you've got to discover the main characteristics of your heart. You'll see in a minute, I have got down here, no two hearts are alike. No two hearts are alike. I was born bold. I discovered that's the nature of my heart. And so when you're a certain way, remember, some people are born kind. Some have a heart of loyalty. And so for them, those are the things that drive them in their identity. Develop a personal style that reflects that heart. Then be able to proclaim your true identity, which includes personal identity, community identity, and spiritual identity. We've talked about those things. Young men must find their heart. That's part of what that junior partnership with another adult is like. It's an older man seeing something in you and saying, "Oh, this is what I see about you." I was blessed. I had those men in my life who gave me opportunities, who gave me important things to do. And they would say, "I can see you're good at this. I can see this is your identity and who you are." So knowing the characteristics of your heart, as I said, no two hearts are alike. Knowing your heart will help you understand your pain. Sometimes you will know your identity by the things that hurt you the most. Let me illustrate. If you are naturally kind, then mean people really cause you a lot of pain. If you're a very loyal person, then somebody who betrays, that causes you a lot of pain. Right? So what causes you the greatest amount of pain? Because because on the other side of that is your heart, your true identity. And we're supposed truth goes into the heart. And whatever truth goes into the heart, that's how we operate. Young men with healthy hearts can help purify a community. You know what's great about that age is they have a great sense of fairness for the community. And they'll speak out. And a community that lets those voices be heard is a really healthy community because they can tell you what's wrong. Oftentimes. Let me close with this. Here are some things. One more thing. Young men must care for their hearts, so that's maintenance. It's maintenance, and that's what the disciplines are for. All the disciplines in any group, there are disciplines. They must be followed because what that does is that protects the heart, and the heart is where you give life. Let me close with this. Here's a gentle protector. They receive and give life. Are you life-giving? There are two main bodies of water in Israel. There's the Sea of Galilee and the Dead Sea. Water flows into the Sea of Galilee and out the other side. In the Dead Sea, water flows in. And that's why it's called the Dead Sea. It doesn't give life. And the heart is the place. We were intended to be gentle protectors who give life. We're tender towards weakness. When we see weakness, our priesthood comes out because we protect, we cover. Men today do a disservice to women because they're not tender towards weakness. And then they create belonging. That's hospitality. I try to create belonging at the supermarket. If the lady checking me out looks like she's having a hard day or somebody's yelling at her, I go, "How are you doing today? Are you having a good day?" I remember in New York, I went in and bought some kind of donut or something, and the girl had her game face on, and I said, "Thank you very much. That was really helpful." And she looked up. You know what I was doing? I was creating belonging. You know that Jesus created belonging wherever he went. Children, sick people, demon-possessed people. He just created belonging. They know how to recover from trauma and negative emotions. Can you do that? How quick is your recovery time? Because you can't protect if you've been traumatized, if you've gone through an upset. And then as we opened, we said they know how to maximize potential in others, okay? They know how to maximize potential. Be sticky, be inquisitive, be gritty, and be a gentle protector. Make it your goal to be a gentle protector.
You know, there's something that I would like to tell you, and that's the heart of John Bell encompasses what we talked about. He is a community protector. What he wants to do is give us information that we can use to better our lives. And so he's just not talking about a bunch of words. He's living that. And decades ago, I recognized that when John started to teach me. You got a lot of good information. Let me tell you a little bit about my life. I have a marketing company, and I deal with a lot of men. Now, there's some women-owned businesses, absolutely, but I just want to talk about the men-owned businesses. I see guys on one spectrum, and it might be a bar owner, and he might be successful, and he boasts, and he talks about women in a very different way than what we're talking about here. Then I'll see a corporate gentleman who understands and is questioning life and saying, "Tell me more about this." I look at my business as a ministry as well. A lot of times we'll talk business, but the majority of the conversation is speaking about these lessons. So you have the ability to delve into this, understand this, and then change. You know, I was a harsh protector as well. And throughout the years, I feel that I'm getting better, but my default is still being harsh. And I'm working at that. Growing up, there was a little meat market. And I'm referencing this business because, again, I deal with all these businesses today. So when I was just a little boy, my mom would tell either my brother or my sister or myself to stop by D'Amicus's. It was on Archer Avenue in the city of Chicago, and pick up some milk, some bread, maybe a jar of peanut butter, some pasta, a couple things. We didn't go with any money, so Ed D'Amicus, the butcher, the owner of this little meat market, had a journal book. And we would come up there, bring everything to the little register, and he'd reach underneath and he'd pull out this journal. And in the journal, he'd write Vitali, would be pages for all the neighborhood people. And he would write the milk, bread, peanut butter, and the prices. And he would do that with all the neighborhood kids. Now, my dad was a garbage man for the city of Chicago. Never had a lot of money. And we couldn't afford these staples until my dad got paid. And this wasn't unusual. This was the entire neighborhood, or most of the neighborhood, I should say. At payday, my mom would go in, and she would write D'Amicus a check for all the things that we've taken for that week. Looking back, I realized that he was a community protector. And we realized that we need more community protectors today. I look at all the successful businesses that I represent, and they're clients of mine. I will tell you there are some still community protectors. But I'm challenging you. How can you be a community protector? I've challenged myself with that many years ago. And every time I see an opportunity, I'm sad to say that I don't always do the right thing. But at least now I understand what the right thing is to do and not to make that same mistake again. So you got some great information again today. This is one of my favorites because it does preach to the choir. This is one of my weaknesses that I continue to work on. Be gentle. Be gentle. I have 2 daughters and a son. And obviously, as you know, they all have different personalities. And I have one sensitive daughter that whenever I say something harsh, it sticks with her not for an hour, but for days. I have another daughter who she'll cut your heart out and she'll say, "Did you need this?" So it's very different. So gentlemen, this is the most important time. This is when you break up into your own small groups and you start talking to each other about what we heard today, about what you want to keep, what you want to learn, and what you want to improve on. Congratulations again for coming. I think you guys are all champions. Have a great week ahead.